All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully, everybody can see, in addition, as well, hear me. So, shout out to everybody joining in. Thank you guys this morning. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. So, this is pretty much the last day of February. So, we're done trading for this month. So, 2 months down, 10 more to go. Want to take some time to really just kind of review where we're at on a few things going into next month. So, just give me a second here. Let's discuss and speak on a couple of things. So I first want to talk about AVGO, which has earnings next week. Broadcom's earnings come out during on pretty much on Tuesday, excuse me, Wednesday of next week. Tuesday we have another company. But next week to watch on when you're looking at Broadcom, I know we just had Nvidia, which reported AVGO closed at about 319 on Friday. We did have Nvidia, like I said, reported and sold off, broke above 200 and ended up coming right back down, breaking back below 200, rejected at the 190 range. And if you're looking, you can actually see, particularly here, that now we're actually looking at this area. We're looking for some downside move underneath 174 and 168. So if AVGO, for whatever reason, ends up missing this week, uh, post earnings, we could see Nvidia trickle downward more. The only point I'm worried about is still, once again, 164, $164. If we end up seeing a breakdown on NVDA below $164, that's where I believe that the selling will start to accelerate a bit more. So if you are looking for, some guidance and direction in that regard, you can keep your eyes peeled on Nvidia for the next couple of weeks. So ticker NVDA. We're looking for, once again, a move below 164. That's the only point where you're going to see any continuation bearish downside action. So let's zoom in real quick. As you can see, anytime we've gotten to like this 170 range over the past 6, 7 months, you see that we've been able to pretty much bounce right back up. We went to 164 back in September. So we're in closing out February now. As you can see, we've just been really within a consolidation channel over and over again. So, those are my thoughts, particularly on this investment at this time, and just what you should be looking to do. So, moving on, let's go over here to AVGO. Broadcom, really the area to pay attention to the furthest would, underneath 306, I think we could see something similar to what we saw last time, but that was only in the pre-market where we got down to about 295 and we ended up reversing back up to the upside very quickly. So if you're watching AVGO, underneath 306 next week is likely to be where you would see any more of a move to the downside. But as long as we hold there, I think we'll be all right. So now, as you guys know, the cybersecurity stocks, cloud computing, all of those names have been pretty bearish on over the past couple of months. We had a lower high form on Microsoft. We're currently at about 394. We went to 390 yesterday again and ended up bouncing and reversing. So on any movement back upward, we'll need to get above 401 and 405. But on the downside, if we break back underneath 390, you'll probably be looking for this name to pull back down some more and probably get to about 384. So those are my thoughts on Microsoft at this time and just where I want you to be careful. Now, OKLO last week made is still within a flag pattern, a bear flag pattern here to the downside. So you're still watching OKLO underneath 61 bucks. This is still a very likely a trade that can play out really well to the downside more. OKLO, you're still looking for a move down underneath $58, moving back to about 52. So over the next couple of weeks, especially here in March, I think OKLO will get down there. So we'll just continue to watch this consolidation. And then when we see the break below, you should see a pullback and a retracement downward. Next one is ticker A Lab, which is still stuck within the bear flag, but it's getting like right at the bottom of the bear flag. So going into next week, A break underneath 116, in my opinion, wouldn't really be too hard. So if you are to see any move, once again, any more movement to the downside, it'll be underneath that specific point. So 116 and change, look for A Lab to come down to about 103. I've had a lot of questions that have came in on A Lab particularly, and they've asked me what are my thoughts on long-term investing wise in A Lab. I've told people only really between like 40 to 60 bucks is where I would be looking to actually get in for a long-term investment. So we would have to go all the way back here to this April low for me to consider it from a long-term investor. But I do believe with this bear flag pattern, really take this note down if you don't already have it. But as you guys know, this bear flag pattern, once we break down below $116, it should be pretty much smooth sailing towards 103. So Broadcom's reporting, wouldn't be surprised to see obviously this stock be affected if Broadcom ends up. My thoughts on Broadcom is that they're going to beat earnings. I'm not concerned about that. It's just once again the reaction post earnings. Do they get a bullish or bearish reaction? How is that guidance going to be? We've seen once again that play out numerous of times where a company reports, pops, and then drops. You just seen it play out with Nvidia. Nvidia had still a really great report, but it wasn't. Um, it's not what people. It's still not a surprise factor. Like the surprise factor has been removed from Nvidia. So anytime you're exceeding expectations consistently, even like AVGO, the surprise factor has kind of gotten removed, right? There's no surprises that, hey, if AVGO comes out and has a blowout report, it's not like, wow, that's amazing. It's like more so, okay, we expected it, right? So now, once you have so many blowout reports, revenue and earnings wise, people start to expect it and anticipate it more. So that starts to settle in. And it's not that these companies are doing bad. Once again, you've just set the bar so high for yourself, right? There was one point where Nvidia was exceeding earnings expectations by 200%. They're not doing that anymore, but they're still exceeding earnings by pretty much a good margin. But when you set the bar so high, it reels investors back in. All right. So you do have as well, SoFi Technologies. We've touched on SoFi. I know quite a bit of people who are currently taking puts on SoFi Technology and still in those. So we're now down to about $17 and change. So if you're looking at SoFi, I still believe SoFi is going to go to 10 to 15 again. We've been saying that since we broke down underneath this bull flag and invalidated back at 24 and 23 bucks. So you do want to look for SoFi Technologies to actually pull back downward. And as we make a move back downward, you want to see SoFi next get below 1720 and 1650. So SoFi puts to me continue to it was down $1.50 yesterday almost. I think this position will continue to develop and you'll see it down there 10, 11, 13 bucks sooner than you know. All right. So just my thoughts on that. Next one I wanted to make note of on a call. I did sell my Kava position that we got into last year. Currently, Kava doesn't match the stock price, or the stock price doesn't match what the business is doing. Kava's going into spend mode. I know they had a good report and they popped. We've gotten a pretty much almost 100% return very quickly. But I've decided to really lower my position on Kava and cut that position all in all, move out the way. So I just want to make that note here on the Zoom so people heard it. I still think Kava has a chance to go to 80, 90, 100. I mean, go above $80, 90, 100. But just here at this, I don't think it's worth the risk. I just don't consider it to be worth the risk at this point. Got in a nice return very quickly, and the P to E ratio shot up because I do think profitability will be a little bit in question with them opening 70 new about 70 to 75 new locations. So just my thoughts on that. All right. Cabo boys. So really good position that paid quickly, but hey, sometimes the things that pay quickly should be the things you rotate yourself right out of quickly. So Shopify, looking ahead to next week, Shopify is currently at 120 right now. I would like to see Shopify break and stay underneath $120 and head to 114 and 110 again. So they're sitting right here on the trend line. So they see either a bounce or a break below. So on shop, I'm looking on these puts for a move down to about 110 to 112. So that's what I'm looking for on Shopify. So if they can stay underneath this 120 and the ARK ETF, Tesla pulls back, Tesla's at about like 402. Keep your eyes on Tesla next week underneath 395. Tesla breaks underneath that 395. It's going to pull back down in the 380 to 387 range. So that's where I kind of have my eyes peeled there. Ticker Zscaler, Zscaler, ZS, 146 bucks now. Cybersecurity stocks, like I said, getting hammered. You got CrowdStrike, which will be reporting as well. So Zscaler already reported. They ended up making a lower high. Now Zscaler made a lower low. They're down to the areas and the levels that you should once again be interested in. Where do I think ultimately there's a shot? I do think there's a shot that you see Zscaler go down to $100. But I think within these areas now you want to start looking to accumulate and acquire some shares of Zscaler. So $100 to 140 bucks, I think, is an accumulation point for ZS. A strong. I'm labeling this a strong buy in these areas. So if you're looking for a company that you want to build a position in, ZS has given you an opportunity to be able to get exposure into it. It's dropped from 331. A lot of times we look at these investments when they run and they're at the peak. Just like Oracle, I told you guys months ago with Oracle, Oracle would come down to these levels. We're going to get to them here next. But this is one where, once again, you want to set your alerts. I think $100 would be the perfect price. So if you want to get a little bit here at 140, I don't think that's a bad thing. But I do think that this company has a large chance to get down to $100. Just like the next company I'm going to talk about, and you notice Oracle is going to come down probably to $100, right? So that's the area where you want to buy. Once again, we everyone sees these big moves in the market and you want to buy these companies once again when they are on a discount and you want to hold them for a multitude of years collectively together. We're not saying these things are going to turn around in 6 months. We're not saying this thing may even turn around in just 1 year and be back at the high. What we're saying is that we understand that there's rotation happening within these sectors, and these names are giving you great opportunities that you really wanted. Because I remember Oracle was at 300, everybody's saying it's going to 400. People's like, man, I wish I would have got it at 140, 160, 200. Well, now you can get it. All the I wishes, all of that's been granted. All of the I wish I could have, I wish. All of those things have been granted. So I would just stress to people take advantage of those opportunities that you have in front of you now. Be strategic with it because you don't want to go all in at one number, but really evaluate the business and see if it makes sense, right? Your risky businesses always decline first. This is why I'm gonna pull up Core Weave next, just as an example before I continue. Core Weave, as I told you guys, and this is just an example of how the trend line, when you do break below that trend line, and you see how prices, we did not get back above this trend line, so we had a clear rejection here. See how price rejected at 103. Price breaks down again here at 76. I've told you guys once again over and over, whether it's Circle um, or whether it's CoreWeave, both of these names pretty much came IPO'd at the same time. Like I'm not touching these names unless they're below 50 bucks. So these are two names that are incredibly high growth, high P to E businesses. So they're very risky, very, 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 very risky. So just once again, just reminding people of when you are putting your money into a specific company, understand and know the DNA. Very, 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 very important. A lot of people are putting their money into companies you can't evaluate and you don't understand. Example, Exhibit A is OKLO. A lot of people, it's like, hey, I'm gonna put my money in OKLO, but you don't actually know what OKLO does. You can't quantify their revenues, their earnings. You're looking and saying this thing is based really all about potential. It's based on all potential, 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 potential. So those are just my thoughts at this time. Chopping it up with you guys here. Like I said, really protect yourself, be wise in how you're actually going to spend your money in this market. Be wise about it. So yeah. All right. See if I can. pull this up real quick. Send something over. 1 second. It should be on my computer. So I wanted to actually go through this. So I went over this before, but I wanted to talk about the different cycles that we've had in the past, I would say past decade and a half, right? Past 15 years, where we've seen like there's always been something like that's trendy that ends up running to the upside, but then it doesn't really pan out. Back in 2013 to 2016, it was 3D printing, right? That was one of the things. Reality, this will replace manufacturing. Every home will have a 3D printer. And the reality, revenue never scaled, high costs, no mass adoption. Wearable tech, you had GoPros and Fitbits, right? Everyone will have a wearable device. These are the next Apple. Reality, GoPro turned into a commodity camera business. Fitbit sold to Google because it couldn't complete. Both fell once again 80 to 90% from their highs. Solar panel manufacturers, solar companies will replace the entire energy grid. Buy every solar stock. Reality, some solar companies have done decently well, but margins really collapsed. China flooded the market with cheaper supply, and dozens of solar stocks went bankrupt. Only a handful, which we do have still today, have even survived. And even those have been volatile in the past 10 years. They've had some wild swings. EV startups, remember Neo, Rivian, Lucid, Nikola, all of these, right? This is the next Tesla. Buy every EV company and the EV charging station companies, right? This was definitely the trade at the beginning of this decade that a lot of people fell into. The next Tesla never works. All of these companies are hot garbage. Your charging station stocks, garbage. Very much zero profitability, weak demand versus what the expectations, massive cash burn, and dilution. Most of the EV names are down 70 to 95%. Tesla was the exception, right? In that. Cannabis stocks as well. Cannabis will be bigger than alcohol, multi-billion dollar industry. Cannabis stocks, I'll just leave that there. Nothing else I gotta say. SPAC mania. All these different SPACs. We still have a ton of companies that came to market via SPAC, like DraftKings, Penn National Gaming, and across the board, just a lot of different companies that ended up going through the SPAC process of actually getting on the market. Lucid was one of them. Obviously, Lucid is trading in the toilet bowl, and you see it. So SPAC mania is what I called it, and where every company was deciding to, I won't say every, but a lot of companies were deciding to forego the traditional way. And what I ended up seeing is now what people do, people were doing is they're just running into those hype beast stocks. Now, seven is the metaverse stocks, right? This will replace the real world. Virtual land will be worth millions. Virtual land will be worth millions. Metaverse. Oh man, no real adoption, no real revenue. The trend died, right? It just died. A lot of the metaverse ETFs now 60, 75%. Genomics and DNA stocks, right? The next breakthrough in medicine. Buy every gene editing stock. Reality, great science, but tiny revenue. No profitability, long regulatory timelines, and the sector collapsed 50 to 80% post 2021. A lot of those companies. So I say that all to say, if you notice, there's always some form of massive trend. I just went through some eight of them over the past 10 to 15 years. None of them worked out. Now, in the short term, they ran up very much so. But in the long run, they didn't do too well. So be careful about hype beast investing, right? Listening, I'm stressing it so much because I see a lot of people falling into it. Focus on the big dogs, and the big dogs will lead you to the little dogs who help them and also provide some value. But don't be playing in the mud so much because I'm telling you, a storm is going to come. Continue to those names. Those names, those quantum computing stocks, I'm not trusting it. And I think quantum will definitely be on this list. In the moment, it seems like this is the future, and it ends up getting clapped. So I just want to stress this to you guys, man. Do not put your money in things that you can't quantify, you can't evaluate from a business perspective, and you're putting a ton of dollars. It's okay to speculate, but you speculate in a small margin. You don't put house money on something that you're really not too sure about. So those are just my thoughts. Also, as I've been I do have a couple, just I'll be posting a updated price list for all my community members. Just some tweaks and a couple of things to add. Obviously, some things have transpired over the past couple of months. So I just want to add a few adjustments. Nothing too much has really changed with the game plan because a lot of these stocks, we expected them to do exactly what they're doing now. One name that I didn't mention today was Palo Alto Network. Please make sure that you have PANW on your list. Palo Alto Network is actually you can actually find Palo Alto Network. Um, I would say at about like $100 to $120. That's where Palo Alto Network is going to make a ton of sense to me. Another thing that I wanted to mention is my Moderna position, mRNA. I am out of Moderna as well. So Moderna and Kava have both been taken off the board. Notice I'm not trusting either one of these bad boys. Now, I do think Moderna has a chance. If it can get above 54, I do think it has a chance to run to about 56 and $60, $62. But I don't trust Moderna like that. I've been holding this thing since about $30. So I'm out of this thing. I'm done with it. And that's the habit that you have to make, right? It is very, 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 very important. That's the habit you have to make is you can't be loyal to these trash companies, right? You cannot be loyal to these trash companies. You see a trend, a short-term trend, don't confuse it to say, oh man, I found myself a long-term winner. I do think Kava is probably better positioned to win longer term than Moderna. But mRNA, I'm like, I'm gonna get out of this thing. I'm take my money and leave this thing, dip out of here. I know these things very well. They'll trend upward for a little bit of time. You'll get a nice movement, but at the end of the day, think about how many bag holders we have. This is why it's important to know the DNA of your investment. How many people are holding a bag on Moderna? A lot. A lot of people are holding a bag on Moderna. So you do have to keep that in mind when you are looking at some of these investments that may be going upward after a long downturn. Think about how many people are holding the bag that are looking for just a little bit of a pop to try to gain back a little bit of their money before selling. So that's just my thoughts on Moderna. I do think, like I said, they could probably go to about 62. But if I see a trade on them, I'll just probably get a little options contract on it. I want to take this position off the table and keep it profitable. And that's the nature of the beast, man. Like those are the things you have to do to stay locked in and focused in this game. And it's okay. Those wins add up. It's better than taking some losses. Just my thoughts. Now Bitcoin boys. So 58K. Remember, BTC is still within a bear flag pattern. So don't get it twisted. Bitcoin ain't break out over 70K, and you know that. So listen to me here now. And I'm gonna be ready to get ready to wrap up here in a second. Because this is just for a short period of time. You guys, all my community can tap in with me tomorrow night for the weekly watch list. I'll post the Zoom up. It'll be watch list community members only. Now on BTC, underneath, underneath 60,000, we're gonna go to 58K. This is the time, like we said, we're right here in March. It's lining up perfectly to give us in March. We should get this flush below 60K and move to about 58 to 52,000. I don't think we're going to get below 50K, but in the event we do, I'm going to tell you how it's going to play out. If for some reason we get below 50,000, it will be very, very brief. Here's how it's going to go. We'll probably get below 50,000, maybe drop to 44, 45K, but that thing is going to be U-turning itself around and then coming right back probably over 50K. It'll probably be one of the fastest U-turns you've seen. So I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of money that's gonna be sitting at 50,000 trying to get in. So you got like really another 15 to $20,000 worth of downside on BTC before the bottom's in. So whatever you got to do outside right now, whether you're picking up OT, whether you're shifting some things around financially to be able to take advantage of this Bitcoin drop. Also taking advantage of Ethereum, ETH, right? You have a way to get exposed into Ethereum via ETH. ETH should give you a drop to about 10 to 15. That is your load the boat number. If you buy it at 15 and it goes to 10, you're not even going to ask me. You're just going to buy more. So these are your opportunities that are presented. You got Ethereum, which is going to probably get down to $1,200 to $1,400. That'll probably be the bottom for there. And that's where you want to buy and load the boat. So you're getting to that point on bit. Once again, we're right here where we want it. We'll be ending the first quarter of the year at the end of March. And we've gotten majority of the discounted opportunities we wanted, right? Majority of those things have played out early on in the year, right, throughout the first 2 months. So it's a good start to the year, right, to look to now. If we can get March for this market to roll over, this NASDAQ to come down more, give us some more discounts and make some lower lows after we've made some lower highs in the past 2 weeks, that'll be perfect. And the setup is beautiful. So, like I said, set your alerts on BTC, take advantage of it. And that's really all I have for you guys today. Is doing the simple things over and over continuously, right? The simple things. Taking 30 minutes to an hour. You don't need to spend all day on the weekends, but take 30 minutes to an hour, to be able to allow yourself to immerse yourself in some of this info and then go about your day. The compound effect of doing the same thing repetitively over and over again the right way pays dividends over time. So I want to commend a lot of people who are in here in the community who things have been clicking for you because you've been putting the time in. You said, man, 6 months ago there was things that I couldn't really regurgitate or things that I didn't know, but now I know these things clearly because of just taking those times, right? So I do want to commend people for the consistency. I see you guys. Shout out to all of you guys that are in the building. It is the end of the month, so we always do like to make sure that we highlight some of our breakout members here for the month. So we do have a couple of students of the month. So I do want to shout out some of the students of the month. I'm actually going to place their names directly here in the community. So we had once again a very good month. So I do, like I said, I do want to say special shout out to a lot of people that have been executing, been in the community, doing their things. You guys deserve your flowers, right, for consistently showing up and consistently being here all the time. So I'm about to go ahead and actually add these people in the chat, and I'm also going to call their names out as well here. So I do want to go ahead and do that for us. So the first person that got Student of the Month is going to be Hugo. All right. So shout out to Hugo for being consistently on Zooms, consistently in the community, executing, also helping people throughout this entire month of February, providing a ton of value. So we do want to have the opportunity to be able to give you your flowers and say thank you for everything that you've been able to provide. The next person that we're actually going to give Student of the Month to is also going to be Caveman. So Caven's been consistently on Zooms. I want to give him a special shout out. He was able to, he's been spending a ton of time with his daughter. Um, but he still found ways to make sure that he was active on all the Zooms. And so I do want to give him his flowers as a student of the month here and as well as a father as well. So special shout out to Caveman. Caven, I appreciate you, my brother, and see all the great things that you're doing. Next person that we have is we have Sammy. I'm sure she's on the Zoom. Sammy actually put together the whole thing here in San Fran. But I just want to special shout out her for taking charge of that and just being a great community member. Everything that she's offered value wise doesn't go unnoticed. So give Sammy her flowers in the chat. And the last person that we have is definitely the last person, not the least, but we definitely could not go out of February and not give Lana. Lana has been an amazing, came on the scenes right away, and I mean, her energy is infectious, right? Motivating other people, charging other people up. I've had conversations with people on the back end. People like, who's Lana? She just comes in and just smoking it. But that's what happens when you are showing up to class and when you're taking the information in, and you really just bet on yourself. Like, Lana's done everything the right way. You know what I mean? So I want to give her flowers. She's only been in the community really less than 2 months, but you came in and she just attacked right away. So like I said, I do want to give her flowers for this entire month, and then also uplifting others. Right, There's been other people to say, hey, like, man, how can I do this? 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 And boom. So Lana, I want to give her flowers. And I want to give a special shout out to also as well. Shout her out on my page. But I do want to give a shout out to Queen C. She's actually out here in San Fran. So I want to give her flowers. This is the SPX Queen, right? She trades XPX like no other, right? So I do want to give her flowers on everything that she does, provides value to the community, and SPX Queen right there. So I do want to give her flowers. I'd be remiss if I didn't do that on this Zoom. So that's pretty much all I have for now. Yeah, class starts in 2 hours, so 9 a.m. So shout out to San Francisco, Bay Area, Oakland. Shout out to everybody. We had some people come from Sacramento, so it's definitely been good to fellowship with people, and I'm excited for what's next. We've done a amazing job. 2 weeks from now, we'll be in Alabama. So shout out to Miss Felicia Frazier. She put that together for her community down there. So if you know you're close by Alabama, come on over. We'll be there. The tour continue, and yeah, I'm very grateful, very appreciative. It's been a great start. So let's just get, like I said, continue to lock in. The opportunities are right there. So it's not really, if you notice, like it's not really a ton of things changing right now. I would definitely stress to make sure that you want to take advantage of the things that are in front of you now. This is more about long-term investing to me, right? More so about the long-term investing opportunities, just because of where we're at in the market. I think it would behoove everyone to really zero in and focus on taking advantage of these long-term investing opportunities that you see right now. So that is pretty much it for for this Saturday morning class. I'm about to go ahead and get ready for out here in San Francisco. But if you're not inside the community and you would like to join the community today, make sure you send me a direct message, 716-930-6783. Other than that, y'all have a blessed day, and we'll talk again soon. Enjoy your Saturday, and have a good one. I know it's yeah, it's approaching 10 o'clock there on the East Coast. All right, great people. Y'all have a blessed one. Peace.